is Chesna Alexander. Welcome to Open Studio. Today we're discussing how, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to let failures keep you down and how to get started without possible support from government. With me today to discuss this is Rizal Adams and Colin Goodman. Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you so much for taking the time out to be here today. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
I'm awesome.
I believe you've got somewhere else to be today, so especially thank you for making the time to come share your knowledge with us. So, Rizal, let's talk about your past if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Okay, so you are currently starting a new business, but you've had one before, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Tell us more about that business.
The one in the past?
Yes, the
Yeah,
one.
the one in the past, I had a takeaways. It was very successful Chinese takeaways. It was one of the first Chinese takeaways in Mitchell's Plain at the time. And it was quite successful. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you have it anymore if it was so successful?
Circumstances, substance abuse, not knowing how to run a business successful, not having a mentor, not having people around me that could guide me. That led me to losing the business.
Okay, so now you mentioned substance abuse.
Yeah.
When you say substance abuse, what are you referring to? Did you go into drugs, and if so, how did you get into being a business owner, successful business owner, turning to drugs?
Well, it's not blaming anybody but myself. Just not having a mentor, not having role models around me, and drugs was available. It was more a means of staying awake. I mean, for me, it was like I need to run my business on my own, and I couldn't delegate, or I couldn't give over to anybody else. I couldn't even trust my wife to run my business, and I wanted to do it on my own. So substance gave me the opportunity to stay awake 24/7 and be in charge, and that's what I thought.
I can just imagine the stress you must have been under to turn to that. Colin, on that note, tell us more about what you're doing at the moment. I know you do quite a bit,
Yes.
but your core business at the moment.
At the moment, my core business is I'm semi-retired, and I'd like to give back, help people find their vision, understand what they're really looking for, put their feet in the ground, and find that what they want to do in business is real, is achievable, makes sense, and connect with that person and try and let them grow as we connect all the time.
Okay, so if you had met way back,
Yes.
he possibly would not have had a substance abuse problem
I would say not, no.
if you were there to support him
Yes.
in that aspect.
If he believed in me that I could help him, and he felt that I was sincere about it, I think he and I became friends, and we would work together and develop a working relationship stroke friendship.
Okay, how did you get to be successful in your business without the use of external stimuli?
Well, many years ago, when I was about 24 after university, I decided that I had a lot of flair for design and interior work, and I ended up working for a huge group, a huge company, and I became a jewelry buyer, diamond buyer. I did my gemology degree, and eventually I opened my own stores. But I believed that I was actually captain of the ship, and I knew that I could develop this dream, this vision. But the money wasn't the issue. It was the product. It was the knowledge. It was the real commitment to getting involved in my passion and developing.
So you're saying what kept you going and persevering, because I don't think starting a business is very easy
No,
unless
not
it was
today.
for you.
No, not today.
So your passion is what drove you.
The belief in what I was doing. Yeah.
Was
and
what
being
got
honest,
you going.
I knew the market. I understand the market. I understood the product. And when you understand the product and the market, and you can combine that and get that energy out to the marketplace, you become successful.
Okay, so Rizal, coming back to, it's very interesting when you're talking about the substance abuse and losing the business. What was the emotions that went through? What happened in your family life when that part of your life took place?
Well, my family life was non-existent. I mean, it went down the drain, so to speak. It was hard times. It was tough on everybody. It was tough on my mother. For she believed in me, and she never thought that I would turn to substance and go down that road. But you know, having a family that stood by me through thick and thin made me where I am today. Coming out of substance, they were really a support for me now. That after the substance, I would say.
And how long have you not been using?
4 years. I've been clean.
4 years.
Yeah.
And how easy is that?
If you have people around you that support you, that can guide you, it's awesome. You need support with substance abuse. You need support.
Okay. Just another question
Yeah.
on that, though. From my experience, because I coach quite a few people, I also know that when you have to get out of something, you need to want to get out of it. What was that turning point for you to say, enough is enough, I'm no longer going to be doing this to myself? What was that one thing that made you decide, I'm giving this up?
I always tell my wife that it was her, and it was partly was her. It was one night I was lying next to my wife and she was crying like silently, and I could hear. And I said, "This is not what I want for us. I want to be happy. I need to change my life." And that was the main turning point. I tell her that all the time.
So she became your passion.
Definitely.
Do you think it was a lack of passion that your business initially took a turn for the worse, in terms of you not coping, not going out and finding what you needed, or was it just not readily available, the support that you wanted?
You know what it was for me is it was the success that came so quickly. My business was very successful. The money came in, everything was running like clockwork. There was no problems, and then one thing led to another, and I found myself addicted to substance. And it wasn't through a lack of trying new things or stuff like that. It was just life was too easy.
Life was too easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so success came too quickly for you.
Yeah.
Have you found that with people that you've been dealing with? Because I believe you're helping certain people
Yes.
getting themselves on their feet. Have you
No, I feel that the experience I've gathered is people mainly have an idea, have a vision, but they can't put it into practice. They have a real feel for what they want to do, but they can't build the blocks and get there. I haven't really met anybody who has been on drugs in terms of affecting their lifestyle. Most of the people I deal with are, they have a dream and they want to reach their dream. And I have to assess whether that dream is actually doable and whether the person matches the feelings of what they want to achieve. And that's why I step in.
So if you meet with someone where there's a disconnect between passion and the vision for their life, do you point that out, or do you disconnect yourself from them?
No, what I do is I through conversation, through communication, I then get them to understand through themselves that they actually agree that it's just a dream. And then I try and say, well, surely there's something that you feel you could do. The fact that you motivate yourself so far, let's go in another direction. Let's see what your strengths are. Let's talk about who you are and where you want to go. And it's more related to the person, the business, and achieving success in this world of ours. It's a tough world out there.
So do people ever ask you for your personal experience when starting up your first business? I know you mentioned
Yes.
you had your you did something in geology. You started your jewelry stores. The very first store that was you're coming out of an environment where people are employing you, paying your monthly salary, to now having to make your own way through life. Was that easy to do, or did you find some challenges, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Well, it's a very good question, that, because I worked for a public company for 9 years, and I had a very good position. And when I went on my own, I thought I was Mr. Big Deal, and I thought I knew everything. But actually, I knew a lot about the products, a lot about the marketplace, but I didn't really understand cash flows and projections and advertising in the real sense.
Yeah.
So when I went on my own, I realized that I know nothing. And I had to start from grade 1 and build myself and start saying, where do I go now? And then think about it and write it down and then set goals and then build myself. So it was like building a home or building your dream, but in the real terms, in the real world.
Okay, so it was really difficult to start from scratch. Once, I find that a lot as well. People have the big vision, they
Yes.
have the passion,
Yes.
but they don't have the necessary knowledge
No.
when it comes to business. And it's a big shock to you when you realize it's not going to be that easy. I know I can sell this to 10,000 people, but 10,000 people are not knocking on my door.
Correct, yeah.
And then you're thinking to yourself, I've got bills to pay now, and how am I going to do that? And that can be very frustrating. When I Rizal, you mentioning to me that when you started your business, the success came quickly, it came easily. But how did it start? Where did you get the funds to start the business?
Well, it started. My mom lent me the money. I mean,
Okay.
it was. When I started my business, Little China in Mitchell's Plain, I just had a few rands just to start off. I had a passion of, I want to work for myself. I wanted to create food for people to eat and to enjoy. And I thought, like, my wife is Chinese. Why not start a Chinese business, a Chinese takeaways? And it was just a passionate drive, and people just came in and they enjoyed the food, and it became so successful that I didn't know what to do. Things grew too quickly for me. And, the success goes to your head.
So there was no plan, there was no roadmap. It was just, I have a passion, someone gave me the money, and there we go. And I think a lot of times in life, that is what happens when things come too quickly and it's too easy. If you haven't fought for it, if you haven't really delved into what it's going to take to make this a success, and if you don't really have the true passion for business, besides the actual product that you're selling, a true passion for business, it's really difficult to succeed. But luckily, later on, we'll be talking about what there is in life that you can what there is around Cape Town at least, that you can use to get yourself educated in business. We're going to a quick ad break right now, and we will see you in a moment. Thank you.
At Cape Town TV, we reach thousands of passionate Cape Townians every day. We offer you affordable, low-cost advertising solutions. All of this at a price that works for you. If you want to increase your sales, improve your brand awareness, or advertise your event, then it's time to look at Cape Town TV. To find out more about advertising on Cape Town TV, please give us a call on 021 448 0448 or email us to sales@capetowntv.org.
Welcome back to Open Studio. I'm Chesna Alexander, and with me in the studio today is Rizal Adams and Colin Goodman. We're discussing the ups and downs about starting a business, and if you fall, do you get up? And if you get up, where do you get the support so that you can continue on your journey to success? During the break, we were discussing a few things before the break, we were discussing how you could get advice and guidance to get you where you are. And during the break, we actually picked up that sometimes you can have the knowledge and still not know how to implement what you know. Rizal, tell us more about what we were discussing. You mentioned you did business management, so there was some form of business skills that you had in terms of studies, but it didn't really filter through in action.
Yeah, I mean, I studied business management, and I had an idea of creating a product and stuff like that. But I had no concept of what success is, how overwhelming success can be, and then taking away from my family life or my religion and stuff like that, and just concentrating on making money. And that was my main goal, was making money. And it was just a bad obsession. And, that led to my downfall, is that it was just all about the money.
So you're saying that you started off having a passion for food and wanting to feed everyone.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the money came in, your focus changed to wanting to get more money coming in. But you hadn't grown in a business sense to understand how to use that cash flow in a business perspective, and then got overwhelmed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just how to balance life. I mean, I had no structure behind me, or no guidance to say, what you're doing is wrong, because, or what you're doing, how to get a balance in your life, because having a business or owning a business is very stressful. But
And very lonely. And very lonely.
really, but you have support with your family, and you need to access those support and then work together with your business and create a partnership. And I didn't have that. I mean, I didn't. The support was there, but I never took it. I just wanted to do it all on my own.
Okay.
Uh,
And for you, Colin, when you started out, you mentioned you had all this frustration now because you thought it was going to be easy,
Yeah.
and then there were some setbacks. How did you overcome those setbacks? Did you find someone to help you through everything, or do you decide, you know what, I'm just going to educate myself and push
I was
through?
fortunate enough to understand there were pitfalls, and I felt that I needed a partner to support me in certain areas, and I found a partner.
Okay.
And we worked together, and we complemented each other. We had a good understanding. But I was still the guy with the money, the guy with the knowledge, but he would question my decisions, and therefore it was a nice marriage where we would just grow the business. I would be the entrepreneur, he would be the hands-on practical guy. And I learned a lot from him, and he learned a lot from me.
And that partnership, is it still going? Or?
No, I sold the company.
Okay. Did you sell it to him or your
No,
partner? Or
we sold it to, we had 7 individual jewelry stores, and
Okay.
each one was sold to private people.
okay, so they're in their own jewelry stores in their own
Yes,
rights,
in
not
their
in a group like you had it in the
No, we
past.
had a group of stores and we sold them individually.
And then you went on to do what?
Then I started designing and manufacturing jewelry, and then I started selling to the whole of South Africa.
Okay.
And then I did my gemology, finished my degree, and then I started selling diamonds to the marketplace. But I was missing, I felt that what I was doing was involved with a passion and being successful, and therefore money came to the bank. But I was missing the real people, the real world. I felt it wasn't genuine, I was growing and experiencing. I love people. I want to help people. I want to help them achieve their goals, but not from a realistic point of view. I didn't achieve my goals,
Yeah.
and I think I've got a lot to give back. And it'd be my pleasure to. I don't charge, and I do it as a, you know,
In a
as-
mentoring perspective,
yeah, in a
you're
mentoring-
giving back.
giving back and helping those who genuinely are involved and know what they want to do. But I don't want to take someone who's dreaming and living in a world that is not reality.
During your journey to success, at any time did you need to lean on government support in any way? Because there's so much support out there. I know a lot of people say there's red tape and all of those things. Did you lean on them in any way? Or do you think that if you really know what you want out of life, you can achieve it whether or not you take...
You know, there were many times when the government wanted us, especially the old government, wanted us to control the gold price, and there were ideas they had which were not practical. I find today it's free, it's easy to trade. The government does want to help us people who are not privileged, and I think it's fantastic. But they need help. You know, those guys, those people who want to grow into a commercial world,
Yeah.
who want to develop something for themselves that they're proud of, that brings them a financial reward, they need help, they need guidance. They really do.
Now, Rizal, you're starting a new business right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to be doing different this time?
Well, I've taken on a mentor. I've taken on involving my family and getting people's advice around me and assist me in what I'm doing. And just work on my experience. I mean, let my experience guide me from the past.
So you're saying learn from the past to move forward.
Definitely.
Are you using any of the services available to support you through this journey
Services.
from government side?
I've gone to government. I've accessed, the finance people. I went around. I got some paperwork and stuff like that. But the red tape is a little bit long and time consuming.
What about the red tape is so long? Because I always hear about this imaginary red tape that's so long.
It's just the paperwork. I mean, there's a lot of forms to fill in, and sometimes you don't understand the forms, and And when you want to go to organizations to help you, they'll give you reforms, but they want you to fill it in on your own, and they don't assist you all the time in getting it complete.
So you're saying that the help is out there theoretically, but the actual hands-on help is not there. So working with Colin would be an ideal situation, because I assume, Colin, you've had to complete quite a bit of paperwork in your time.
A little bit.
And you've been in business 20,
40 years.
40 years.
I know I only look 20, but I'm 40 years.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure you've had your fair share of paperwork. What is so draining about this paperwork that everyone's always talking about?
Because there are two sides to the story.
Okay.
One that you understand as a businessman,
Yeah.
and then one the government body wants to get out of you. And sometimes it's difficult to understand exactly what they want.
Is it the lack of knowledge, or is the questions, the way what they're asking for, just insurmountable in terms of the amount of things they want to know? Or is it fact of, if they're asking for a cash flow and you don't understand the cash flow, then that becomes your red tape and your difficult part of completing the form?
Yeah. I think it's a combination of many factors. What they're wanting to get, sometimes you haven't even achieved. So you have to project things in order to get the finance, which you don't really know if you're going to achieve those figures or objectives. So it's kind of quite difficult. So that's why, again, mentoring can open the door to understanding and meeting both bodies, and then finding a middle road that they understand. Because to get money out of the government is not easy. And for them to give the money away, I understand there are a million people knocking at the door. So you've got to have a structure, you've got to understand that this is what you can offer.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can't just throw it around. You need to know where it's going. You need to know that whoever's going to be making use of it is actually going to be helping the economy, and not just, like you mentioned, someone who's got a dream and they think it's a goal. Because there is a difference between having a dream and having a goal. The one actually has a time frame, where the other one is something one day, which is not even on the calendar. So coming back to you at the moment, you are also busy with another project you mentioned earlier, that you do voluntarily. You want to tell us more about that? The project that you're helping out, the voluntary work that you do.
Okay, you're talking about the way I'm doing some sound work.
Where you're currently doing
Yeah,
sound
okay,
over
yeah. What we're busy doing is assisting people in getting their lives back together, dealing with the past, and getting complete with the past, so that they can move forward in life. That's what I was busy with, just that type of work. It's awesome seeing people growing and people dealing with their past and getting complete with it.
And and your past experience, do you think that was a journey you had to go through in order to be where you are now, that you can actually pay the way forward for others, because you have a personal experience? Do you think that is helping with the project you're busy with?
Definitely. My experience with my substance and what I've gone through made me who I am today, and I can relate to people that's going through similar things, and I can speak to people and be support for them, and that's been an awesome an awesome journey for me.
That's good to know. So just to wrap up, today we were talking about starting over if you've fallen, and Rizal has shared his personal story with us where he had substance abuse, which he actually turned to because of success. Most people do it because of failure. But he never let it keep him down. He continued his journey, and he's now started a new business, and he's also helping out quite a few people on the way. And we've also discussed some information that Colin had shared with us, where business is a great way to go, but you do need to have the passion for business. And it's not just about the product, because if it's just about the actual product, that's a hobby. And you should go and do that as a hobby if it makes you happy. But you do have to have a passion for business and the product. And if you don't have the necessary skills, there's help out there. Colin has offered his help. If you are already in business and you're stuck in your business and you want to move forward, he's offering it for free. If you're stuck with the red tape everyone's always talking about, all the paperwork that needs to be done, he's offering to assist and help you and educate on what it is that they're actually asking for in order to get to funding. We've also discussed that funding is a great opportunity to go, but if you can do it on your own, by all means you should. Thank you very much for watching us today. If you do want to be a presenter on the Open Studio, please contact Open Studio via email, which is openstudio@capetowntv.org, or you can call 021 448 0448. Don't forget to keep watching every day at 5. Enjoy your weekend.